Project Blue, a remix of F-Zero by Overshield. Folks, you know what that song means.
I sure do, as I do every
Excellent.
time.
Good. I'm glad you remember every time, because sometimes I don't. Well,
That's
that's not
fair.
true.
That could be the age.
It,
It could be the booze.
oh, it's
It
almost
could be
certainly
both.
the age. Don't you be talking smack about my booze. It doesn't do nothing to me. No, it's most likely age and also sometimes getting confused about which stream or multimedia thing I am doing at the present time.
That's true, especially if I'm
Uh,
not there in person.
Yeah, yeah, especially that because I have to very closely coach myself sometimes. Like, okay, it's not Quest for Semi-Glory. You're not doing that right now. It's the other one. So don't do your normal other intro. And
I mean,
sometimes
at
I
this
mess
point,
that
it's an
up.
extension of Quest for Semi-Glory, let's be real.
I mean, it kind of is, but we're broadcasting on a different channel. We got different
True.
visuals and different tunes and all that. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Wait, you got tunes for your other show?
Uh,
What?
well, I mean, game tunes.
Okay, yeah, fine. I was
Actual
gonna
game
say,
tunes.
damn, your production value's gone up a
Oh no, I
ton.
wish. No, I am not. That's too much effort. That's way too much
Yes.
effort, and I am not on the music production front. I'd like to. That'd be fun, but no, that's not what I put my time into. Anyways, welcome everybody to Insert Credits. I am Mr. Bond.
And I'm Tormod.
Round 123. It just don't stop because sometimes that's how it feels like. It just don't stop. This week in particular was kind of rough for me personally at work. It was just a lot of work and a lot of work and a lot of work, and it just kept going and going. So timely as a title for this month's episode here, this month's session, this month's round. Insert Credits, of course, is a monthly podcast slash multimedia experience we do ostensibly about video games, broken up into three main segments. First, we start off with some news, what's been going on around the world, releases, legal matters, etc., etc. And we take a quick break for some tunes, generally video game remixes from OC Remix. Pretty good stuff. Then we talk about what we've been playing since last time. Usually a month is filled with a lot of gaming goodness. Then more tunes. And then at the end, we do some ad hoc design. Completely off the cuff, we take a few things given to us from letsmakeagame.net and then live on air on stream on whatever you happen to be consuming this from, we try to make a game out of it. No notes, no preparations, no nothing. Pretty good stuff.
And
Pretty
it
good
shows.
Stuff. It does show sometimes. Sometimes more than others. We've had to really dig deep and do something with what we've been given. But we've been successful. 100% success rate. Can you imagine?
I mean, no, but
I mean, we don't have to imagine. It's true. Like, we have
yeah.
documented proof of all this, right? All right, let's start off with some housekeeping. Next few shows here, we have round 124 coming up in the month of August. Looks like that's slated for the 16th. Is that still good?
Oh wow, that is a week before my birthday.
Oh yeah, happy early birthday.
Yeah, it's looking pretty okay.
All right, very good. And then round 125 in September. I think this decision was made for us regardless. The
Yep.
13th,
Mhm.
naturally. And then round 126, we can go all the way down to October. My goodness.
You want to do the 11th or the 18th?
The 11th or the 18th. Yeah, I don't have any particular thing for or against. How about we call it the 18th then?
Sure.
What did I say that was? 126?
Yes.
All right, we'll go with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that's how math
Yep.
works, counting, etc. Very good. That wraps up housekeeping. Let's talk about some news. What's been going on here? This is one of the rare instances where I didn't have to trim anything off my topics list because there's frankly not a whole lot going on. At least not a lot of stuff that crossed my normal feeds. But that just means that I can talk more in depth about these, and none of them are necessarily negative. We're not dealing with any like Apple v Epic crap. We're not dealing with who bought out who and who's firing who and whatever. So,
I mean, there definitely is still more Apple v Epic.
oh, there absolutely is. I just didn't see anything of particular import this past month, so I was like, hell yeah, I get a break from that. So I don't remember Myst getting a remaster 4 years ago in 2020, but apparently that happened. But I was reminded of it by a Riven remaster, which just released this past June, late in the month.
Okay.
Apparently, very well received. Takes essentially Riven and buffs it up a little bit. One difference from the Myst remake, though, is that the player is given full camera control. You're not just given a static camera perspective and you got to click around for puzzles and stuff. You're actually able to navigate the world to your heart's content, no matter how, which is interesting, very interesting. I remember Myst back when it was first released, like, what was it, like early 90s or something? Back when CD-ROM was like the hot word, and you counted your drive speed in like 2x and 4x. That was the thing back then.
Mhm.
I, as a wee babby, of course, did not understand the game very much, so didn't make it very far. I do remember, however, buying the DS remake, like the OG DS one. Um,
Okay.
one summer, I think that was one of my internships over in the Twin Cities. I walked to, I think it was either an EB Games or something, through the Minneapolis Skyway from my apartment to go buy it, and it was fun. It was great. I loved it. That was the first time I've been able to clear the game, and I think I did it without like taking physical notes, which is wild to me. But I think they did give you like a built-in notepad or something for the DS because you had the touch screen and the stylus. You could just note stuff down. It was pretty cool.
Ah, yes, the Etrian Odyssey treatment.
Yeah, yeah. So it was pretty good. I do like Myst. I haven't really played any of the sequels, so maybe this Riven remaster is gonna be for me.
Cool.
Um, so if you're into puzzly puzzles, and occasionally I am myself, the Myst series as a whole, and then Riven, and then I think there's another like main title after that. There's like 5 in the mainline series, but I don't remember what all they're called. Good stuff, good music too, extremely good music, very well known for its tunes. So that was just released this past June. So last month we talked about a 40-year-old shmup. This month I'm gonna talk about a 50-year-old game, not a shmup necessarily, but Lunar Lander, first released in 1974, comes back to the forefront here because 50 years later, now in this year 2024, a retired engineer, Martin C. Martin, discovered a bug in the physics code for Lunar Lander, right? Like, honestly, I wouldn't even necessarily call it physics code, but apparently back in the day, 1974, programming for Lunar Lander was honestly pretty impressive to get this physics code in there, the PDP-4 or something, whatever it happened to be. Wild, wild stuff. If you're not familiar with Lunar Lander, it was a text type-in game where you had 2 minutes to land the lunar lander on the surface of the moon, and you could enter in inputs every 10 seconds to adjust the rate of the lander's fuel burn to set you gently on the surface of the moon. That's all you were able to do. That's all you were tasked to do. So this retired engineer, Martin C. Martin, was looking to optimize the best landing you possibly could, essentially free fall for X number of seconds, and then do a solid burn and then cut it out like right at the last moment or something to get the perfect landing, the landing with the most fuel left and the least amount of time spent doing so. But in doing so, as he was investigating that, he found a bug in the physics code where it was actually slightly off, and the actual optimal landing, according to a whole bunch of maths and stuff, didn't really work. So very interesting. 50 years running, this game is still coming up, and people are still interested in it, which is great. Awesome. Love to see stuff like that. Okay, I guess not all of my news is positive, since this could be considered a negative, depending on if you own a Wii U. Nintendo stops their repair program for Wii U consoles, citing a lack of parts. Apparently, all their parts for Wii U's is no longer available, so they're not going to repair your Wii U console if you send it to them anymore. Bonk. Kind of stinks. You had a Wii U, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or
I'm
still
looking at it right
still
now.
have? Still in your
I
possession?
can't tell you the last time I turned it on.
Oh man, well hopefully it still works.
Hopefully.
Just as an artifact of the times, if nothing else. But if you want it repaired, you can't have Nintendo do it for you. Okay. Well, I wasn't lying about my news being a little bit light, because that's all I got. What's on your list here?
All right. Well, It was that time of year about 2 weeks ago now. Summer Games Done Quick 2024.
Oh, I
They,
forgot again.
as always, we're raising money for Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders. They got $2,573,570.39 this year.
39 cents. Very important.
39 cents. So very, very solid result from that marathon. As always, it was in Minneapolis. We were treated with another speed run by PB the dog. It was actually PB's first live speed running on a stage event. So
Was
because
the
AGDQ is a remote thing for PB.
Oh, right. Okay. I got you.
So it was not Neil deGrasse Tyson's baseball.
Damn.
No, it was Ken Griffey Jr. baseball.
Wait, like the Super Nintendo title, Ken Griffey's
Yeah.
Major League Baseball? Oh man. That takes me back.
So yeah. The Neil deGrasse Tyson's baseball was a little oops by the legally distinct GDQ trivia show that was in the preview for the event, I guess. So they did a totally not Jeopardy, and somebody forgot what the name in front of baseball was and said Neil deGrasse Tyson instead of Ken Griffey Jr.
Ah, damn.
So that of course was memed on. So
Neil deGrasse
lovingly, of
Tyson.
course.
Why would you think that's associated with baseball? Oh man.
I don't know.
That's funny.
But it was good. It was a moment of levity in a already bizarre Jeopardy appearance. I mean, legally distinct GDQ trivia show.
Right.
So yeah, as always, the rest of their bits throughout the week were funny and outstanding. So yeah, lots of runs to go back and watch. Lots of really good things and lots of hilariously shitty things. I will say that the smart ball run probably was at the right time of the week at the right time of night, and I was laughing my ass off the whole time. I wonder if they ever did find the cowboy. So, yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just reading what Kenny wrote.
Yeah, I'm trying to
there's a lot of really good stuff. Go back and watch the silly block. Basically the whole thing. It's pretty well worth it.
I'm trying to decode that triple STWW. What is that? Supersonic saves the world. Okay. All right.
Yes.
I got you.
Super Sonic saves the world. Or wait, no. Was it Super Sonic saves the world? I don't remember. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that ROM hack was great. Yeah, well worth. The D-Sides map pack for Celeste. Unfortunately, I do not remember the name of the hack that was done. Outstanding, as always. I always love Celeste. Monica's D-Sides, thank you. I always really like that stuff, and that was also blended. So yes, gamesdonequick.com/schedule. You can see everything. And last I looked, there were only a couple runs that didn't have a VOD linked on YouTube already.
Excellent. Plenty for me to catch up on now. Wow.
Yeah, lots to see. With that, they of course announced the dates and location for Awesome Games Done Quick, lovingly known, of course, as AGDQ. They are in Pittsburgh this time, from the 5th through the 12th of January. And already, Eon has been talking about the cursed bullshit that she's going to say. To which I threatened to also learn those runs and make them races.
Oh no. But oh yes, but oh no.
We will see. All right, time for some shit. So Microsoft has announced tier and pricing changes for Game Pass. Of course, they want more money. So Game Pass Core was formerly known as Xbox Live Gold, will now be $10 a month. or you can get it for $75 a year, which allows you to do online multiplayer and has a limited library of 25 games. So
Okay.
that is the base that you need to pay in order to have online multiplayer. Game Pass Standard is $15 a month, which Game Pass Ultimate had been. It's the same thing as what Game Pass Ultimate is in terms of its library, except now it also excludes day one launches for exclusives.
Oh,
So if you want to play exclusives on day one, you have to pay for Ultimate, which is now $20 a month. And it also gives you cloud gaming.
so if you can't wait a
PC game.
single day, you pay an extra $5 a month, huh?
Well, it's unknown when day one stuff will go to the normal Game Pass.
Ah, I see.
Um, they did not decide to say how many weeks, months, whatever it would be for that. PC Game Pass, of course, has been its own thing for a while where it's a little cheaper. Of course, it only works on PC. That's $12 a month. It offers all games, but without cloud gaming. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. So, I ended up buying a bunch of Game Pass cards from Question Mark at some point, and they basically just emailed me photos of the scratch off shit, and
Wonderful.
I've been good through the end of this year for a while. So unsure if I will renew, but considering how much of the library we've very definitely been playing, may as well. We'll see. Um, with it, of course, only being in 1 month chunks now instead of having 3 month cards that are slightly less expensive. But last I looked, I was at Yield Bad Sensory Experience grocery store yesterday, and they had Game Pass Ultimate cards for $45 for 3 months. So you can go buy them there, I guess.
At like the little stand by the registers where they have all the other
Yeah.
cards over there.
Yep.
That's kind of funny.
So that was there. But moving on from that and talking about games that are coming out that, well, this won't appear on Xbox anyway, so I can't make the day one exclusive joke. Darn. Bimmy and Jimmy are returning in Double Dragon Revive, which is releasing on PS4 and PS5 sometime in 2025. But it looks more like a 1v1 match fighter than it does a beat 'em up game.
Interesting.
So I'm not really sure what's up with that. The gameplay or whatever they showed didn't really show like things moving. It just like stayed. So I kind of assumed that the drummer might be bent a little bit on that. Nintendo had their direct, and like until the very end of my notes here, I forgot that a Zelda game was announced. Oops. So The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom will star Zelda herself. Link allegedly is nowhere to be found in that game. We'll see. The map looks very similar to A Link to the Past in a lot of ways.
Huh?
So I'm kind of hoping that that comes to fruition because I really quite like that overworld map for Hyrule. That game comes out on the 26th of September this year. So 2.5 months,
I
almost to the
see.
dot. So it is art style similar to the Link's Awakening remake.
Okay.
I didn't actually look at the trailer for it yet because I forgot about it until I was writing my notes. So I'm going to have to go have a look at that. I missed the entire direct, but allegedly there are some other things that were promising. Finally, GameCube games are getting support for achievements via the Dolphin emulator and
Oh.
Retro Achievements.
Okay.
So Retro Achievements has definitely grown in popularity a lot over the last year because it is essentially an emulator plugin that you connect an online account to, and it has a community of folks who basically say, I want to own this game. And then they make the achievement packs for the game. And while you're playing it, those achievement packs look for specific values in memory and are able to track achievements that way.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. GameCube games getting support. Why not? I mean,
I guess
many other consoles have things now. So
if that's your jam, I suppose. I'm not personally into Chivos and all that, but hey, if people like it, that's great.
So, but it's been kind of fun watching people play games that they ordinarily wouldn't play because they're on the Chivo grind.
I
So
see.
watching Skybills play a 4-job Fiesta of FF5 is just kind of like, okay. You definitely have not played an RPG before. This is actually entertaining.
Oh no.
So things like that. But no, I am not a Chivo hunter. I could give much less of a shit. So, yeah, that about wraps up the news. I did want to say something about the whole Apple v Epic thing. Of course, last I
Sure.
heard,
Why not?
Epic was going to whine about Apple's money grab in court again somehow. So that's it.
There was something, I guess, tangentially related to that about the EU is coming down pretty hard on Apple, and now they're opening up their mobile payment system for some reason.
Did not hear that.
I don't know.
That's
I didn't click into the article to read the entire thing through because I was just like, you know what, this isn't really video game related. I mean, I'll point and laugh at Apple's expense because haha,
yeah.
but yeah, maybe there's something to that. Who knows? Epic whining about things though is pretty on brand though too. So
Yeah.
that works out.
Well,
Oh,
that's all I got for news.
excellent.
We
How
ready
how
for some
about some tunes? Yeah, early tunes is fine.
All right. So today starts with Fate Has No Forgiveness for Those Who Dare Stand Against It by Lucas Guimaraes. I'm a Future Guitar Hero, Ivan Hexstoke, In Wake, and Matt Matat from Chrono Cross. Going into You're in the Wilderness Now by Emunator and Flex Style from RuneScape, and ending with Mission Final by Zach Parrish, Emunator, JSA Blixer, Lucas Guimaraes, Lunaritis, Ridley Snipes, Ronald Poe, and Zalif from Metroid Prime.
Here's hoping it just don't stop also applies to our ability to game here. What have we been playing since last time?
Well, one game for
Anything?
me.
All right, what you
Beyond
got?
watching all of the GDQ, I got pretty into Minecraft Dungeons with Remy for the
Nice.
week before it went on its internship into the mountains.
Internship into the mountains. Cool.
Yep. So played that for a bit, got up to some much higher level, and have not played it since. Mostly because GDQ was in the week interim there. So yeah, I'm probably going to be getting back to it soon.
Fish up any epic loot like a better fishing rod or whatever you were telling me about the other
No,
time.
that was Minecraft proper.
Ah,
So
okay.
which I guess I turned on. I maintain the server. I make sure that it still works. Um, did not really play. So yeah,
Oh well, at least you
that's it
played
for me though.
something. That's good. That's good. Playing is
Yep.
good.
How about you?
All right. For me on normal stream stuff, I was just finishing up with Core Devourer last time. That is now entirely complete. I ragged about not being a Chivo hunter when we were talking about the Chivos and stuff. I 100% Chivoed Core Devourer for no particularly good reason, but it did give me a list of things to do. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I'll do this and this and this. And most of them were spread out pretty well, like use such and such a weapon to do this and play this way and that. Like those sorts of Chivos, I'm cool and I'm into. Any of them that are just like random bullshit, like sat through the opening cutscene or whatever. It's just like, okay, all right, have a little self respect. Come on, so dumb. But Court of Hours fun. It's a little vampire survivors like, just a different theme, really more sci-fi than fantasy. So that was up my alley. Pretty simple visual aesthetic to it. It's very clean, a little bit neon, which was very, very cool and exciting to see as well. Overall, a very fun game, so I would recommend it.
Cool.
After that, picked up Wizard of Legend. This is a, I'm gonna call it a deck builder because it kind of is. I mean, you put together your powers and then you use them, so it's a deck builder in my mind, sort of. There's also a Wizard of Legend 2 apparently that is released recently, so I wanted to play the first one before I played the second one. Um, Honestly, the first like week or so, I wasn't that much into it. It seemed to be very like difficult right out the gate. And I don't shy away from difficult games necessarily, but it was punishing. Just absolutely against the player in every way, shape, or form. But I stuck with it. And then I kind of cracked through, and now it's fun. So I'm gonna keep playing it for a bit. It's still in progress on stream for at least another week here, maybe two, depending on how I'm feeling about it. On the Shmup Book Club side of things, the new Shmup for month of July is Spriggan Mark II Re-Terraform. We had played the prequel to this, I think it was just called Spriggan. It's quite some time ago, actually. I don't remember when it was. It was a long time ago. Very strange. It's kind of got some weird audio design where the game over music and I think some of the cutscene music, if you turn on the cutscenes, are like full on synthetic orchestra, CD audio redbook type crap. And then the normal in-game music and sounds are just I don't even know how to describe them. They're a lot crunchier, but they're definitely not on the caliber of the other stuff. So it's a
Sure.
little jarring. But it is an interesting game in its own right. Might spend another night with it. It wasn't really doing it for me the first time I played it either, but it's one of those shmups where it kind of takes a little bit to get going into it, but by the time you're like 20, 25 minutes deep into a run and then you eat shit, it's just like, do I really want to try it again? Maybe. I don't know. But it's interesting. We play all sorts of things in SBC, so I'm not really surprised if we get the winners and the kind of not so winners for games sometimes. Our new quarterly for Q3 of 2024 is Ginga Force. Or no, that's not the new quarterly. I guess that's the existing quarterly for June through August. It's Ginga Force, or Ginga Forsu, if you listen to the highly anglicized voice acting at the start there. Interesting in so much as the mode that we're playing, the score attack mode, it requires you to go through some of the like normal, I guess, story mode first to unlock it all. which has been kind of a struggle for me because that's another game which is sort of hateful if you don't know exactly what you're doing.
Hmm.
But that's been fun, and I know Kenny has been playing a lot of it too. He's unlocked all the levels, so congrats to you, Kenny. Got to catch up a little bit. Um, the new quarterly now, actually, for quarter three of 2024 is Universe. It's a Gradius fan game, like an indie developed. One person put this together to as a fan game for Gradius. So there's a lot of Gradius visuals and a lot of Gradius sounds and a lot of Gradius kind of patterns to it, but it is far less hateful than Gradius proper. My goodness. You aren't checkpointed after you die, so you don't go back to some arbitrary place. You lose very little of your equipment when you die, so you still have all your options. You still have all your speed ups. Really, the only thing you lose is your laser if you grabbed it. So very forgiving there. No checkpoints, as already mentioned. So you just continue from wherever you ate shit, and you get a sizable number of iframes when you come back too, like a good solid 2 to 3 seconds worth. And it's just like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought this is a Gradius fan game. Why is this being so nice? But it is a fun little bit that we're playing. We got that through the end of September for score submissions there. I did play that one last night. There was a few startling moments, but it is very much a Gradius fan game in style. And I like it. I like it a lot. I like Gradius just on the whole. I think a lot of people are a little sour on it because it is a very hateful series, but I don't know. I like Gradius. It's fun. Or Gradius or Gradius, I think, are the three different pronunciations I've heard for it. I go with Gradius because I'm a stupid Westerner, but God, Gradius always kind of tweaks me a bit. I hear it in like I forget which title in the series had like the intro cutscenes and the voice acting, and the English side says Gradius. And the first time I heard that, I was like, no, stop! It's such a terrible pronunciation, but it is funny.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. But on the long play side of things for Sundays, I've set Noita aside for a bit and picked up the DLC for the Talos Principle 2. This was something I've been excited for a while, since it released a few months ago. I had done, of course, the full run through the base game of Talos Principle 2. Lots of puzzles, very big brainy type stuff, which I very much enjoy. And the DLC is no slouch as well. Been on it for 2 sessions now, I think. I think I'm about maybe a third of the way through the DLC in total, which is good, which means I've got like another 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 nights on it yet, which I'm looking forward to. It's a fun game. It's a little goofy in so much as it tries to do the whole like human philosophy thing. What is it? What is a human? What's intelligence? What's life? Blah 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 blah. And it's very goofily presented as humanity is now dead. Spoilers. Humanity is now dead. Robots have now kind of taken over, but they're taking on the personality of the humans before them, and blah 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 blah. Or they're discussing like what to do or whatever. It's just like, yeah, I'm sure they want to be all serious with this, but I can't take it seriously. I'm just here for the puzzles. Just get out of my way. Let me solve a laser puzzle or something, and I'll be good. Outside of stream stuff and playing a few odds and ends in between, I'm actually still playing a lot of Sopwith. That was the SBC title for June. That's the 1984 shmup we were talking about earlier. Just because it's fun. It's fun and charming. And while we were doing it for SBC, I managed to get over 20,000, which doesn't sound like a lot of points, but it's very difficult once you get past like stage 3. It really wants you to stop. And I'm just like, no, I'm not stopping. Fuck you. I'm going to get more points. But that's been fun to just kind of tool up a bit and then play it for like 20 minutes and be like, all right, that's enough. Put it away for something else. I don't think there's anything else I've been playing, but what's upcoming, and I can talk about this now, I suppose, we're starting up another kind of slightly large-scale async multi-world here. I'm not the one hosting and running it this time because I kind of stepped away from all that because it's honestly a lot of work. But I think we're starting that tonight or tomorrow. I don't remember. But I've got a smaller-ish number put in for that. One world of Final Fantasy 1, one world of Link to the Past, and then one world of Doom 2. Which is a good spread of genres. I am comfortable with it. and it should be a lot of fun to see what everybody else throws into the mix here. I think that's about it. Are we allowed legally to do Toonskis Part 2 this early?
I'm not stopping you. You
Okay.
have the play button.
You're right. I do. Technically, I make the rules.
True.
All right, let's start off with a remix from Final Fantasy V entitled Standard of Light from Blue Lighter, followed by a remix from Elden Ring entitled Gold Scourge by Emunator and Hotline Sawani, and then finishing off with a remix from Castlevania Aria of Sorrow entitled Going Deeper by Varia, Pixels and Paradiddles, Mel Decision, and Mobius. All right, once more we go in to do some ad hoc design. let's make a game. .net/game-idea-generator is what we use.
Yep.
Gives us a random set of stuff, and then we make a game around it. So let's see what we got tonight, huh?
All right. Well, I have it pulled up, and of course, as usual, the first thing that loads on page load is not something we use. We will instead use it as an example for the type of thing that we could use.
Right.
So, generally speaking, we have one or two each of genre, rule, setting, and theme. And this example here has one genre. It is point and click with the rule of one tool, many uses. Already fits pretty well. The setting is distant future, as we were talking about Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. Of course, that has me thinking about time travel. And the theme is individual versus society. So,
Ah,
that sure does fit pretty well, doesn't it?
sure does. Unfortunately, we can't use that.
Nope. No, we cannot. So,
That was
the
a
rules
very
here.
that was a
Course.
very kind
had-
example for it to give us.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Definitely.
unfortunate. Oh well.
So the very first time I push generate here will be, of course, roll number 1. Should we choose not to use it, we can go to roll number 2. We cannot return to 1. And of course, we can go to a third roll. Cannot return to any previous rolls. We cannot roll again. We are instead forced to make whatever the fuck that thing is. Generally speaking, we like to play it risky and not go with the first tune. Instead, are forced to go with the number 3, but of course, I say that and we'll probably roll something amazing. So who knows?
That would be great. Well, I can tell you, if we get another entry in the Gun God series on roll 1, we're probably taking it.
Gotta find out. Ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Roll number 1. Oh boy.
Oh, good. That's a great start.
This could be really funny. All right. So there's 2 genres, one each of rule, setting, and theme. Genre number 1 is dancing.
Oh, okay.
I think genre number 2 here is what would make it very spicy. The second genre is Q-Wop like.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
The rule is build the level you play. So this is already turning into a keyboard perhaps based rhythm game.
Seems that way, yeah. It's hard to imagine QWOP like on anything other than something with a lot of individual inputs on it.
Yes. I agree. The setting is unfortunately superhero.
That's less
Not
exciting.
my thing. And the theme is rivalry.
Okay. Well, that's not bad.
So it's basically a superhero dance off.
Yeah. Kinda.
Yeah. Except it's keyboard inputs, of course.
All the superheroes are body contortionists.
Yeah. Or their muscles are too big and they can't move. Who knows?
That's true. Or both. Yeah.
Yeah. Not my thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we could probably do something with dancing and QWOP, like, and build the level you play, but I think the superhero really torpedoes it here. It's just not great. Okay, well, sounds like we're on to roll 2 then.
All right. 1 each. This could be very interesting, actually. All right, so the genre is life sim.
Okay.
The rule is running out of power.
Hmm.
The setting is space opera.
Oh.
And the theme is temptation.
Oh, shit. Wow,
It's kind of neat.
Those all fit together pretty well.
Honestly, yeah.
Hmm.
So this feels like Citizen Sleeper real hard.
See, I haven't played that one. I know you've talked about it a couple times.
It's definitely worth it. And it's on Game Pass, I'm fairly certain.
Life sim, running out of power, space opera, temptation. Anytime I hear space opera, mind immediately goes to Mass Effect, just because like that's one of the big well-known space operas.
Yeah.
But,
That's fair.
Do we dare take the forbidden second roll here? This is
I kind of want to see the stats in terms of like which role we've taken each time.
right. I should have I should have recorded those when we did like which role we used. I didn't.
I think we should start doing that
Okay. I think we can make that a thing.
because like this is pretty cool.
All right. Are we
The thing that I'm kind of confused about is like how do you define life sim in this case? Because like if you have a theme of temptation, you have to have like some kind of motivation, and you have to have the motivation be in the form of something.
right?
Like it's not just people existing on a derelict space station with diamonds over their heads. Like I don't know. Like the whole running out of power thing means that like yeah, there's some built-in scarcity right there. And with it
Right.
being a space opera, yeah.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
like how would these characters be able to like enact their futures? How could they be tempted? How could they make decisions? How could they fuck other people over?
I fuck other people over. I mean,
Corporations.
temptation is like, I mean, that's as romance. Like what pops immediately to me is like romance. Oh yeah, can you fuck the aliens? Yeah, you sure can. Mass Effect, you can fuck every alien you want. Um,
Yeah.
so like there's literal temptation if you want to go with that interpretation of it. I don't care either way, but it sounds like we're gearing up to make this our selection here, regardless, right? So I'm gonna mark
I'm kind of
that.
thinking like this is a really solid option.
All
Yeah.
right, let's go with it then. Roll two,
Okay.
recorded. Life sim, running out of power, space opera, temptation. All right. Life sim is weird, as you stated earlier, because now this almost speaks to no end objective. Just go and build and do whatever. Um,
But
well,
the
build, but
space opera implies that there's an ending. There's a
right.
goal.
Yeah.
There's something to achieve. Um this feels really dystopian future setting. Um very like everyone's out for themselves kind of thing. You might have some communes or something like that, but like it's basically like kill or be killed kind of thing.
Right.
That's
Either
kind of the vibe I'm getting from it.
either you survive or someone else does, and you just can't let that pass. Um,
I think like we would have to build in a scarcity of resources in order to like force decisions
right.
because like it's really easy to make a play or to make a game where you have to be a dick. But in order for it to have the like the depth and the emotional impact that I think a space opera really kind of requires, you have to you have to force some bottlenecks.
Hmm. Hmm.
So difficult decisions need to be a part of that.
Yeah. And zero sum or worse, essentially, is what this is going to boil down to.
Pretty much.
Um,
Like there is no real like good ending.
mhm.
There are different outcomes, but none of them are truly spectacular.
Yeah. Would there even be a least bad ending at that point, or are they all kind of, well, that
It's
kind of stinks?
I mean, I'm sure there's probably plenty of ways where you can like you can kind of play the character where you understand that the end really means that there's nothing left and you may as well just cause it to happen sooner than later and just fuck everything for everybody. Like I'm sure you could do that.
Sure. Yeah, the chaotic evil ending, I suppose. Or no, I guess that's not necessarily
Evil.
chaotic evil. It's probably more lawful evil than anything. But
It's
yeah.
like, do you want to prolong the suffering of everybody when everybody's just dying anyway? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
eh.
So is that the hook then to fight the inevitable, to persevere, even if it's like even if you know you're gonna die. That's the real
I
human
think
condition
so,
bullshit.
because like temptation in this sense could mean like going against what feels like should be logical.
Hmm.
So in that sense, it's like the being driven by emotion. You're tempted to try regardless of the futility of it, which I think really actually kind of lends itself to the space opera like
Mm-hmm.
as a genre very well. Definitely gives me like a Gurren Lagann vibes.
I should watch that. Okay. Fight the inevitable. Survive, but survive well, even in the face of utter obvious futility.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So I'm getting this weird like mashup of Deep Rock Galactic and um Citizen Sleeper with some Gurren Lagann vibes where you just have the like infectious positive character who like inspires you to do the impossible and then just dies.
uh,
But like I don't know, it's like I think a healthy blend of those kinds of things can make something that's pretty compelling. Like you could be that person maybe.
you could be the happy-go-lucky one that eats shit right away, or
Well, not necessarily eats shit, but like actually gets people to work together instead of
I
being
see.
individualistic and inspires people and gives them hope. Like
So
you
the
could
least
go
bad
that
ending.
route.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. All
This
right.
is definitely something that would lend itself to, much like Mass Effect, dialogue trees. Although I don't quite remember how Mass Effect works. Are you forced into the same scenarios all the time, or do you have some like
No,
choice in the direction you go?
there
Because I know
are.
they have like paragons, don't they?
Yeah, there are choices, and it depends on who you ask whether they're valuable choices or not. But you either like you get your whole kind of alignment thing that you can make certain decisions, you become more of a paragon. Make certain decisions, you become more of a renegade. And the further you
Got
are
it. Got it. Okay.
to each side, and you can do both. You can try to do both. Like you get more options unlocked the
Sure.
stronger you are towards one side or the other.
Okay.
Which was interesting. I thought. Um, I had I've played all the way through 3, which was fun. I enjoyed it, and people didn't like the ending or whatever. But I haven't quite played Mass Effect Andromeda though. I'd like to, and I think it's no longer in EA's dumbass clutches through whatever platform they own. So I think I could probably get that through Steam. Anyway, um, but yeah, that's kind of how the Mass Effect alignment worked out as
Sure.
far as opening up further options the longer you played, the more you progress the story there. Of course, there was plenty of
Honestly,
middle of the road
that's a
stuff
pretty good
too.
mechanic.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like it was, I thought it was presented pretty well. It was a little hammy sometimes, of course, but yeah, with space opera, what the fuck do you want? Um,
Oh hell yeah. They've got all the Mass Effect games on Steam. Okay. Huh. I had to look. Um I like how they're still selling Mass Effect Legendary Edition for $60.
60. Oh boy,
Yeah.
I don't know if
I'm sure
it's
it
worth
goes on
that
sale,
much.
but like, oof. Yeah.
Or
But
is that all 3 of the mainline games?
I am actually putting in my legitimate birth date to this for once. Oh, let's see here. It includes single player based content and over 40 DLC from 1, 2, and 3, including promo weapons, armors, and packs, remastered and optimized for 4K Ultra HD. So,
I see.
okay, if it's like all of the content for all 3 of the games, I feel less bad.
Okay, yeah. If it's
So,
$60 for the 3 main lines, great. If it was $60 for a single one of them, I'd be like, nah, man.
so it says it's included with EA Play, which apparently you can buy a subscription to from Steam, which is interesting. Um, I want to know about what it requires in terms of spyware that you have to install to play the game. Anyway, I'm getting distracted.
Yeah, that's all right. Well,
I've never played Mass Effect. I just know some memes about it.
it's for a good cause. It's like the quintessential space opera of, I don't even want to say recent-ish times because it's been out there for a while. But it's
I
like,
mean, like you say space opera, and people also definitely think of Halo.
sure, yeah, yeah, that's fair. I mean, probably less so, I think, because Halo was very much more combat focused than Mass
It
Effect
is, but
was.
there's a hell of a lot of story.
Yeah, there's a lot of story and a lot of themes that definitely tie in with it. Sure,
For sure.
I won't deny it. But back to our space opera here. Um, so obviously we're tasked with surviving. uh, you had mentioned decision trees earlier. Why not? I guess, right? That's a
So,
well
like,
understood thing, I think, at this point, right?
okay, so are you familiar with Shadowrun?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you you have some like base stats that you can get depending on how you play your character by class. Um, I kind of think like it would be interesting to have a system like that because then your decisions would be you would have more decisions in the pool to choose from based on what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Right.
I think it would be interesting to instead of gating things entirely based on what your abilities are or your scores for things are. Instead, like allow anyone to do anything, but the chances of success go dramatically down
Right.
instead of saying, well, you're not skilled in this, so you can't do it. But I don't know. I think like one of the strengths of playing a game like that in tabletop format is that you have a game master you can reason with.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is like, yes, I know I'm not an archaeologist, but I was a street urchin and I heard things and I know connections. Like you can kind of like you can give a reason why you would be able to do something. And I think opening options up to players that wouldn't traditionally take them because games would gate them out is
Mm-hmm.
probably something that would lend itself really well to this kind of story. So like if you were to, for instance, like try to choose an option where you have like a less than 20% chance of success, like there could be a side conversation where like you choose the option and somebody in your party like pulls you aside and you're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And you can, have more exposition that way because you can like explain what your rationale is, I
Right.
guess, in a way.
Right. And then that
And they
moves your
might be emboldened by your stupidity.
right. And then it affects the core chances up or down of whether your stupid action will succeed, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, like in that way, you could convince them to give you an assist or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
So just things like that. Like I don't think that kind of thing is explored enough in video game format.
Okay. Good. Uh, inventory in this context, I don't think really makes a lot of sense to go into deep detail about.
It really depends on the character you play. Because like if you find yourself in power, you're going to be able to have access to more resources.
Right.
And if well, it depends on the kind of power you have too. Like if you're someone who's on the streets and like knows a guy, like you have the power of knowledge and you know how to get things when you need them. Your inventory might be your connections that you have rather than like I have access to an arsenal and can just go fuck people up. So I mean, you might want to be as generic as like sundries to keep yourself alive,
Mm-hmm.
enhancements, and then weaponry question mark, along with some kind of whatever knowledge you can collect.
Okay. Yeah. Like your more physical stuff, like you just mentioned, the the knowledge you gather along the way, the relationships you build with other characters or factions or whomever else you're trying to negotiate with, right?
Mm-hmm. And then I guess you can have special items too that would give you like passive effects.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm thinking like for example, and I'm not really sure how I would like make this work specifically in the game, but like a lodestone. So like you would always know what direction was home or something like that. So regardless if you got fucked around and got lost, you'd be able to eventually find your way back. Something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. Okay. That's a goodly amount for inventory. Uh, this sounds like it would lend itself. I know this is like life simish type stuff, but it sounds like it would lend itself pretty well to more than one player. Um,
Yeah,
you,
probably, maybe.
you
Yeah.
get two to four people going. Maybe you're your own faction or team or community or whatever that you're trying to do your thing with, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I had been thinking about it was pretty single player, but I think hmm, I'm kind of wondering how I could like it wouldn't necessarily be cooperative play. It might be like adjacent play, like multiple people playing in the same world, but not necessarily directly involved with each other.
Okay. Yeah. Adjacent. I like that description. Uh, oh, not
Or
necessarily
parallel
co-op.
play. I mean,
There
that's
you go.
another, I guess, name
That's
for
pretty
it.
good. So decisions and actions don't have direct effects on each other, but might affect the world in such a way or the other elements within it that the other players can see it.
Yeah, I think that's probably more likely to be the case. Like, I think it would be interesting if this were the kind of game where you wouldn't know if you're in the same world with somebody else playing the game.
Hmm. I see. Yeah.
So, like, you'd be matched up with randos on the internet going through their own scenarios that would have ripple effects on yours.
Right. Yeah. If ever there were a multiplayer game, like an online game, like I would probably get into. That's probably as much interaction with other people that I would care to do.
Sure.
Personally speaking, just because most of the other ones are just like, yeah, let's form a squad, and then you get people who are just dicking around, and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Input method I don't think is important. Graphic style and audio style. I know we've recently had not necessarily problems, but struggled a little bit trying to define these in meaningful ways
Hmm.
that really affect the game. And yet again, in true form, I'm struggling to find a way to fill these out that would affect this sort of game here.
Hmm. I mean, like, I guess how I was envisioning this was first person point of view, I guess. And like the whole bleak future space grime kind of thing,
Okay.
depending on like which echelon of whatever you're into on wherever you are, if this is a planet or if it's a space station or whatever the case is.
Right.
Like ambient electronic, perhaps some kind of orchestral elements to it, depending on what the scenario was.
Okay.
Like this feels like more the kind of thing where sound design would matter more, but almost like the Foley work matters more than the music.
Mm-hmm.
Almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But not to the point where it would give away the game, right? You wouldn't want to actively spoil something. Like, yeah, you got your typical, oh, things are tense, let's throw some strings in there or whatever. And yeah, obviously we can see the situation is tense. We've been negotiating things for 20 minutes. Um,
Yeah. I mean, it I think it would be really cool to have what the hell is it called? Um I was just looking this up last week and I never actually found the right word for it. It's not like additive music, but it's reactive music. So like you could have elements of tracks kind of like come in and fade out depending on whatever's going on.
hmm,
If you're moving or if you're swimming or
right,
if you
right,
are
right.
suddenly in a situation where you're backed into a corner. Like it could be the same song but shift into a different like instrumentation or feel or something like that. Having it be more reactive and dynamic without shifting into a completely separate track feels like it would be really neat to me.
Okay. Yeah, dynamic sounds about the best description of that, I think. I don't know that there is
Yeah,
another descriptor for something like that, but I do know what you're talking about, more or less.
sure.
Okay. Um, graphic style, since this is kind of not necessarily realistic, but gritty and kind of run down and grungy and kind of shit's kind of fucked and whatever. Something a little bit with a little bit less fidelity, I think, would be good. Like a little
Yeah,
chunkier.
like you say that and I'm thinking like Devil's Lab from FF6.
Mm, okay. Yeah.
Kinda.
I don't know if I'd go like full on pixel art and voxels and shit for that, but something like a little bit less smooth and refined and
Yeah, yeah,
anti-aliased
yeah.
and shit like that, right?
Sure.
All right, cool. Yeah, that all sounds great actually. So while we're cooking along with this, let's give a thought to a title because we're always great at these. Um, Life Sim, Running Out of Power, Space Opera, and Temptation. Temptation we kind of covered obliquely, but that's fine. Um,
I had something in my head earlier and I totally forgot what it was.
uh,
Um this feels like the kind of game that like a two-word title would be really impactful.
yeah. If you want to hit like the literal power sense, like electrical power, blackout, something or whatever, or it's
Let me
pretty
open up
stupid.
Yield Thesaurus real quick
There
here.
we go. Use the tools we have as humanity here.
Hell yeah. Um
Not maybe not necessarily blackout, but surge or overload. I like overload, but that's a different game.
I mean, you could literally just use something like Event Horizon, but I'm pretty sure that's been done.
Probably, yeah.
Because I was thinking like something, some word inevitable or imminent or
Hmm.
like some catastrophic solar event or supernovas or pulsars or whatever the case. Like something is going to happen and whether you weather it or not is based on how you play.
Imminent flare, imminent surge, flare, surge, surge, flare. Play with
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
order of these, yeah. Uh,
What was the name of that book? Um, yeah, Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. That's pretty interesting.
I think I've seen that.
You should check that out, by the way. I think you would really like that. Here, I'll throw a link to that in chat
Why
because
not? We can
it's
read
it's
it.
oddly actually kind of vibes I'm feeling for this. Fantastic book. Not quite the same thing, but it's got the
I
like
see. Yeah, okay.
urgency and dire vibes that I feel like I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, I'm skimming the synopsis of it here. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Interesting.
Like for minor spoilers for what happens in the book, things are dire enough where they have to nuke the Antarctic so they can get more shit into the atmosphere.
Whoa, that's rough.
Yeah. So like it's a time. It's a fantastic book though. But I mean like the the hmm, unintentional pun. The gravity of the situation is to the point where you have to make ridiculously difficult but necessary decisions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a game like this, especially with temptation, would have to force you into situations like that.
Okay.
And like the solutions for those things could be hella sci-fi and like miraculously get rid of the problem if you do things right and have the right connections and play your cards right and things like that. Like the whole Aki Ross thing from Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Like you magically sort of find the solution to these problems and you take out the gravity cannon that blows up the planet if you don't do it. And so I mean like shit like that. Like you just happen upon the right thing with barely enough time to prevent catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
good things.
Desperate or last second, last minute. Um, and what kind of time scale is this on actually? Like how we
Great question.
like a month, a day, a year? Like for truly stressful, it would be like not necessarily like minute, but I did like that game. Um,
Cough, cough, 0 hour cough.
ha. Oh boy, really putting the meta to it, huh? Okay. Fortnite. Hilarious. Um, I was hoping that the time scale might inform us a bit here, but I was hoping for too much. Okay. I don't know. I think if we're gonna try to limit this to 2 words, we could we could try a bunch of different combos and find one that's passable, or or we could just do some
Honestly, though, it is really, really tempting to name drop here and just call it 0 hour.
0 hour. Yeah, sure, why not? You know, I imagine there are several other games organizations, whatever, that have used that particular construction, and I don't care. Let's go with it.
All right, seems great. After more than a decade of making things, we finally have the idea. Hey, what about the name we already have?
Right? Yeah, how about that? Sometimes you take a very circuitous path to use the thing that you've been using for a while. Okay. Yeah, cool. I'm into it.
All right.
We'll call that good. Ship it.
Love it.
Goldmaster, etc. Okay, cool. Well, wow, I didn't expect the show to go that quickly, but that's all right. That's okay. We don't need to whinge on and on about things and to have a good show. So I'm cool with a short one every now and again.
Yeah.
Any other things we need to share? Otherwise, we can call it a night and bid the audience adieu.
I think I'm good to go.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. I'm Mr. Bond.
And I'm Tormod.
I'll leave you with our typical closing track, a remix from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest entitled Forced Through the Trees by Shay's Violin. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.